Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a balanced rack. It looks close to a bingo. Do I have one? Well, I'm not seeing a 7, but I have a few floaters now to consider. The F doesn't look useful, nor does the O. The R repeats a tile, and I'm not seeing a bingo. How about the E? No, and I'm not seeing anything with the X. Okay, so is that the end of my bingo search? Could there be a 7 here? Well, it's not coming to mind. So I can get my Y doubled, and I'm looking to play off Y and A as a priority. So I could play that here, but I'm setting up a hotspot above this triple letter square. Can I do better? I don't have an E for going under the R, so I am looking at plays over the top. So what about playing today? It is wrecking the rack, and although the rack was quite nice, it wasn't a great rack. This is 31 points. I'm taking out most floaters. OR isn't massively useful. I am going with this. Okay, well, again, this looks close to a bingo, slightly less close than the previous rack. Not seeing a 7, very few floaters to consider, so I'm looking at playing off the V and splitting up the duplicates. And possibly looking also to play off the O. This is again a rack with quite a few bingo-y tiles, but nothing worth sacrificing points to hang on to. Now my V can go above OR, so I do have VOR. I have Volar. Wow, that would be the play if it stays available, and it doesn't. Door, wow, 40 points for opponent. It's a bit of a ladder. Opponent has a 50-point lead. Now, double doubles, I sometimes miss those. Column 11. Not seeing one. Pax takes nothing in front. Door does take an O. And N and R can go above it. So do I have any plays ending ON or OR? Not seeing them. Let me put the tiles down. This is ideally what I'd like to do. Just can't see anything. I am looking to play off the V. So I have Valor. This is slightly grim in that it keeps duplicates. 31 points is a decent score. I'm not gifting opponent anything massive. Can I do any better? Well, not that I can see. Wow, pretty grim. This rack seems to be getting worse with each passing turn. Generally, you're looking to keep a decent rack leave, and the rack matures towards a bingo, but that's really telling a story which reflects the random pickup of tiles, and this just demonstrates that such random pickups can result in a deterioration every bit as much as an improvement. So what am I going to do here? I've drawn the second V, but I've also got a heap of other junk, and Fung is standing out as a way of getting rid of most junk, but I'm not sure there's anywhere for that to play at the moment. Oda takes nothing in front, V takes nothing either side, so column 8 is available, but Fungar not good. Not seeing anything down there. Road takes an E in front and a T. That doesn't assist. I've only got one vowel, which doesn't go below the F. So I may need to change, unless opponent provides a useful floater. I have the prefix. So do I really have nothing in column 8? Quite often when I change, there is a better play that I've overlooked. So I always pause before changing to try and avoid making an inferior play. Now I do trail, but only by 20 points. The double-double lane has gone. Not many words begin packs, if any. Pack says maybe all. So unless I have a column 8 play, I'm really seeing nothing at all. So what's the best I can do in column 8? Do I have any play at all? Opponent taking a while, slightly ominous. Is he about to bingo? Opponent changes. Interesting. So, column 8, is there anything? Tan gun needs the A in a different spot. No, I'm not seeing it. I am changing as well. And I'll retain NT. Okay, well, fairly bingo-y, but 2 sets of duplicate tiles, so I may not have one. Certainly nothing's coming to mind. So what about column 8? Well, I have Cotter, keeping ANN. Only 24 points. Is there an alternative play? I'm not sure there are going to be many 8-letter bingos, so if opponent plays in column 8, my bingo prospects may still be very, very low. But this should be quite a nice rack leave, pretty much regardless of what I play. Now, opponent leaves column 8 alone. Is he waiting for me to provide the floaters for him to bingo? What do I have parallel to Hep? Top takes an O, so the O would have to go there. The A would have to go here. N or T can go in the middle. Do I really have nothing? So a play could begin AN or AT. So I have a none for 23 points, probably better than changing. Well, I can place my C in front of that. 32 points, well that's definitely worth doing. Not the best rack leave by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not a terrible one either. And it's not helping opponent. Topped isn't good, otherwise I could have Canton. Okay, I'm going with this. Another non-bingo rack, and I still trail by 20 points. I think bingos are really going to be decisive in this game, and opponent's plays make me feel like he's close to one. Now, I do have scoring tiles in the H and the K, and my H can go underneath the C. Topo takes an I. Not sure it takes anything else. And I'm not going to have any 8-letter bingo if opponent does play in column 8, so he could play in column 8 and then bingo himself. So what can I do here? I have Theek on my rack, nowhere for that. Dopa only takes an S, today takes an S, and opponent changes again, 5 tiles. So what about column 8? Do I really have nothing through this A? Surely there is something here. Well, I have theta, keeping the K. Do I have anything with H and K? I would have hectare if there were one more space available. Also fen words. Not seeing one. What about cat? Decent rack leave, 42 points if all of these words are good, and I'm only slightly doubtful about fent. Yeah, I think this is the play. And it's good. Fantastic, but I have not drawn well. Well, there may be an 8 here. I've now got a 20-point lead. Wow. I guess opponents' changes have caused that. So I'm again in the situation where I don't think I have a 7, but there will be several 8s. I'd have into tie and retinite through an N. Still 4 N's to come. His opponent going to play in column 8. And do I really not have a 7? And there are no 2-letter sets to consider. So, super tight board, quite an unusual shape. Usually by this stage, one of us has bingoed. So I'm still looking to see if there's a 7 here. But one has not come to mind. I don't have any extensions of fent. I've only got 1-point tiles, so even if I played in column 8, I could only get 20 points. Look at this, just 2 points between us. Now, I'm looking bottom left because I've only got 1-point tiles. I can only get 20 points in column 8, and that gives away floaters. And look at this, M, K, C, and H, all available. So, what have I got down here? I've got TT for 28. CHAE, not good. Char is good. So yeah, tighter. That's a better play. I am setting up a lane, but it's a lane which will provide access to triple word squares. And it's not massively dangerous, it's only setting up a 7-letter lane. Is this the best I can do? And what would be painful is if I was foregoing a playable bingo at this point, but I'm surely not. And is there a way of leaving a better rack leave? KA takes an E. What about playing just tier? 28 points, a better rack leave, and a less easy spot to take advantage of. I think this is better. I'm going with this. Okay, well, it doesn't look great. 3 T's. The T is the tile I withdrew from the board and put back on my rack. Through an I would have bittiest. Interesting, what's opponent going to do now? Because this ladder, in a way, stops. Because if opponent ladders again, he's providing access to triple word squares, which is going to give him cause to pause. And he does trail, so maybe he will play in column 8. Interestingly, I've got a T here. If I play Trode, then I'm setting up an S lane, but I've now got an S, so maybe that is the thing to do. But I'm not seeing any great T plays. I'd like to play off the B. It's a scoring tile, and it's not non-bingo-y. What do I have in column 8? Nothing which gets the B doubled. Wow, nice bingo for opponent. He would have had that even if I'd played tighter. And there goes the first blank. And opponent leads by 60. Tricky spot because this board is so tight. If I go in the natural spot in row O, the board could stay tight, so maybe now is the time to open it up. What do I have in column 8? I have better. Interesting. Decent rack leave, decent floaters, and there are hotspots all over the board. Floaters in better, the S hook for today, row O, row N, row L. So I think this is the play. 24 points. Wow, brutal pickup. 4 vowels. Absolutely awful. Maybe these are the racks opponent changed on earlier. So I trail by 40, but I think that is going to be extended quite quickly. I am going to change here. I think it's very unlikely I can score enough to justify making a play. Let me check the remaining vowels. 17 out of 44. Quite vowel dry. And I mention that because I think maybe I'll keep AIST rather than AST. 5 I's to come and double I is a real passion killer in terms of bingos. Is opponent about to back-to-back bingo? That would be pretty fatal for me, I think. No, and only 16 points. Interesting. But opponent is taking out a lot of the bottom of the board. Just wondering if I have something at the bottom. But I'm not seeing it. So I am changing. This is awful. But do I keep AIST? Or just AST? I think I keep the I as well. Yeah, I'm going with this. Okay, so I don't draw any more I's, but I do draw an O and a U. Do I have a bingo with this rack? So the best floaters are the B and the T. This rack plus a B, not seeing anything. I have outraise onto the E and sautoir. Cool, an opponent may be attracted to row O. If he had W and Z, would be a good score. And I have sautoir without the E in column 14, so I am bingoing. Retaining the I did pay off in this instance. Doesn't mean it was the right play. An opponent has chosen to block the floaters at the top. But I am bingoing. It's not going to score very much. It won't get doubled, and it does take an E hook. But I do have sautoir. Nowhere else for it. Do I have anything through this T? No, I'm not seeing anything. Sautoir for 69. Wow, pretty good. I draw the second blank and 2 S's. Still 1 S to come. Fairly bingo-y rack, but pretty much no bingo lanes on the board. And we're dead level, so a close game. However, some big tiles to come, and big scores may be available without a bingo. Look at this, row A at the top. Actually, row A is a good bingo lane. Could I have a bingo with this rack and a B? I think the 2 U's make that unlikely. I'm just looking at row N to utilise the E hook. But I'd want to get rid of at least 1 U. I was thinking about EAU and AUE, but neither of those work in row N. So what am I going to do here? Such good rack, it's quite tempting to try and open the board. But how to do that? C and V are particularly tricky tiles in terms of board opening. I could play UV, but that's not opening a bingo lane this turn. Wow, opponent has big scoring tiles, gets 36 points. I trail by 40. And he could just get a succession of scores in the 30s and 40s. So many good scoring spots around the board. And there's not much I can do about it. An opponent's taken out row A as a bingo lane. DI takes nothing in front. Just looking for any front extensions of Clued and Valor, not seeing any. 9 minutes on my clock. Tier takes nothing in front. So what about this? AUE. That's got a freak opponent out. If he plays in column 1, putting a tile in this double letter square, he's opening a new lane, but it's a face value lane which provides access to a triple word square, so that's not a great play, and this isn't a great rack leave. But it is opening a lane. What to do? So let me look at the remaining vowels. Still a ton of I's. 10 out of 24, fairly balanced. R only takes an E. I don't have any U plays in column 15 in the middle. What about playing AUE here for 18 points? There must be a possibility of me winning without a bingo, since there are so many big tiles to come. There's still a queue to come. This doesn't feel great. What about playing 7 minutes on my clock? What about playing something underneath the F? Oh, well. Oh, no. Ah, well. What about this? This EAU for 23 gives less options for opponent. I think this is generally a better play. I am going with this. Okay, so quite promising ordinarily on a board with bingo lanes. I trail by 13. No lanes. Well, I guess there's column 13. That is a lane, columns 13 and 15. I expect opponent to go there. I certainly didn't have anything last turn. Close to having gussies. Just fails next to the R. If I played EQ, that would create a new lane. But I'm reluctant to do that. The score is so low. I'm still looking around tier to see if there's a way of opening up the left-hand side of the board. 30 points for opponent. Now, do I really have no bingo in column 15, which runs parallel to Sautoir? 7 minutes on my clock. So gussies doesn't work. Gutsies isn't good. I don't want to waste too much time. Jibuses. No. Still 12 tiles to come. So anything here, not that I'm seeing. 6 minutes on my clock. Possibly suings. That doesn't work. Not seeing anything here. That was gussies. No, so what to do here? What about playing Gu? Because with all these N's to come and having the I, that creates an ING spot, so that this is a good bingo lane for me. If opponent takes that out, and the worst he could do would be zigs, then he is leaving alone bingo lanes in columns 15 and 13, although they're not great ones. Is this the right play? Only 10 points. And is there a 2-letter play which would work better? I don't think so. I think this does have some merit. I am going with it. Great. I draw the Z, so I have zigs in column 2. What else do I have? I have Zos in column 15 and Wi-Fi, so I do have a big score coming up. Will opponent block column 1 for a low score? Interesting. I don't think I have a big parallel play, because I'm not saying any bingos. So what do I have alongside sautoir? I burnt my E for sautoirs, for sautoir rather, and my E for going to the right of the R. Just one E to come. Maybe that was an expensive burn. We shall see. Yeah, opponent takes that out for just 23 points, so I trail by 50. 6 tiles in the bag. This is 51, and a decent rack cleave. There are several scoring spots around sautoir. So 5 minutes on my clock, 6 tiles in the bag. This is 51. I'm not looking to turn over masses of tiles because there's a queue to come. But what's the best I can do elsewhere? Do I have anything? Not necessarily using the M, using the Z rather. Well, what about Ms? Moz rather. Ms rather. Only 37. No, I don't prefer that. U takes an A in front, and Zia is good, but I don't have an A. Are there any hot Z spots I've overlooked? 4 minutes on my clock. So I have Moz to the left of sautoir. I am going with Zos for 51. And I dodged the queue. Interesting. Where is opponent going to play? The remaining tiles not looking that great. I didn't consider this, but GI, how useful is that for a 9-letter play? Not very. This is a super balanced rack to be going into the end of the game, and I only trail by 5. I haven't drawn the E. I have Imargos on my rack. Og, not good. Opponent could just play QI, but where's he going to play it? So, do I have a bingo with the board as it stands? I'm looking for a 7. I'll just look while opponent is thinking. So that's Imargos, which doesn't go. Gliomas. No, that doesn't go. Gosh, that looks close. Ugamis through an E. Origamis through an I. No, this isn't looking good. That would have been bigamous. Okay, now, if my blank was an H, row C would be a lane ending hit or hat. Well, I don't have anything there. Are there any other lanes I've overlooked? GI? Not seeing anything. Apart from bingos, I've been a bit reluctant to look for scoring spots around sautoir because that's where I'm expecting opponent to play. Vibs takes nothing. 3 tiles in the bag. If he doesn't empty the bag, I could draw the cue, which would be wearisome. My best hope of winning the game, I think, is if opponent has that tile. I do now have an A for IU. But not many plays end AO. So hat. Hit. Hot. Gosh, that feels close, but I'm not seeing a play. Yeah, I think that's exhausted everything on the left of the board. So what do I have in column 15? If opponent's got the cue, he's not going to be taking out this middle triple word square if he plays it, so my M can go there. But the U is the problem tile. I have nothing which goes next to the U, which can follow an M. So what if my G went next to the A? No, it would have to be a play beginning AG, so something like Ago. Four minutes on opponent's clock. This is super close, just 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 5 points between us. My M can't go to the right of the I, so maybe a 5-letter play in column 13 would be my biggest scoring option. But I'm not seeing anything great in that spot. Wow, this is such a tight end to the game. So what does Ago score? Only 23 points. And I'm going to struggle to have an out with anything, even if opponent empties the bag, because there are so few lanes available. If opponent does have the cue, he's going to struggle to play it without allowing me to score off it, since I have the S and the blank. For example, if he played QI next to sautoir, I could have SEAM for a big score. And if he plays QI next to Vibs, well, I guess if he plays QIS, that might be quite good, but he may be reluctant to do that because he's leaving alone column 15. The Q may be in the bag. Well, just 2 minutes to go on opponent's clock and only 3 on mine, so neither of us has a ton of time. And I think this is very difficult to call. The J available for score. So I could play Mag in that spot. But where is the Q? Ideally, the Q's in the bag and opponent draws it. It's almost feeling like if the Q is in the bag, whoever draws it loses. I feel that there are better plays in column 15 I haven't identified yet. What does go next to U? G, H, M, N. So I could play Manar. P. Opponent's played. Gosh, I didn't hear that. Just 12 points, and he's blocked the. He cannot have had the Q. He's blocked Q spots. There's only one tile in the bag, So there were 3 in the bag. There's now 1. If the Q is in the bag, and I think it has to be, then there's a 66% chance that it's on opponent's rack. And I trail by 17. There's nowhere for... Well, opponent can only get 11, so ideally I should have an out in 2. And the best way of achieving that is to play off a lot of tiles, but 5 tiles, and I can't see a way of doing that. Maybe opponent's quitting because he's drawn the Q. We'll just have to wait. In the meantime, I'm going to look for my play. Now, do I have NGAIO? I do. Keeping S and M. Interesting. That might be enough. What would that score? 31 points. And I'm probably drawing an I. So I would have ISM. Well, I may not be going out on that, but I think I can outrun opponent. If I get 31, I'd be on 372. I'd lead by 14. Opponent would get 11. I'd lead by 3. And, wow, I thought I might have Ms in that spot, or Sim, but neither works. It would be close. Well, let's see if opponent returns. It says resuming, so opponent has come back. So this is what I'm thinking of, Ngaio for 31, and I think I'm going with this. Yeah, I'm short on time. I'm going with this. Well, opponent has got a Q spot. He's got QI. What am I going to do with MSS? No vowels. Was that the right play? Well, I've got mug. Opponent's got 6 tiles. I've got yum. That's thrown me. I was expecting to draw a vowel. There's mu. There's lots of places for the M. But is there anywhere for M and S? Smug if Pax took an S. Nothing through EAY. Nothing beginning Mayu. And opponent's got an E for sautoir. So where's the best spot for my X? I've got mug, I've got mu. Only a minute on my clock. 9. I'm going with this. And I do have S spots. There's betters for 8. I lead by 12. 1 minute on each of our clocks. Chairs is good. That's for 11. Just keeping an eye on... I don't want to miss opponent making a move with so little time. Quite nice to see the S's. They're fairly easy tiles to play. So chairs is what I saw. Sautoirs is good. That will be 16. That would probably be enough. Maybe I should have played that first. Yeah, maybe I should have played that, given that opponent's got an E. So easy to make errors when you're short on time. Look at this, just 15 seconds on opponent's clock. And he hasn't played the sautoir spot. He gets 16 at the top. So I am going to play this. Opponent's got triple IN. I hope I'm not stuck with this S. There's betters and this C. I'm not stuck with it. I lead by 12, 4 seconds on opponent's clock. He's not going out with triple IN. He's now incurring a 10-point time penalty. So I lead by 22. I'm not sure if that incorporates the 10 points or not. Great. I lead by 15, 40 seconds on my clock. I've just got the S. Where can that play for the most number of points? I think here. And the final score, 382 for my opponent, 412 for me, a winning margin of 30 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what an intense game. The ending of that game took forever. So it was opponents go first, and a great start with Forex for 46 points. This was my rack. No bingo, and I played today. Opponent's rack. He plays Doper. And my rack. Valor. Yeah, that was my play. So all of us over 30 points with our opening 2 plays. And opponent has the blank, no bingo, and changes. I have an awful rack, so I change. And having mentioned that playing is often better than changing, I'm not seeing anything which obviously is better here. E13 Vud. No, I don't think so. Opponent's rack plays Hep. And Cannon, that was my play. And poor opponent, all vowels. And he changes again. My rack, and I play Ket for 42. So now I lead by 20. No bingo. Opponent plays Mar. And here we go. I play Tier. And no bingo here. Retie was available in this spot. Yeah, it wouldn't have stopped opponent's bingo, but more points and maybe a slightly better rack leave. Opponent's rack plays Deluges, and now I now trail by 60. And I play better for 24, but 06. Tit available, Charet, Lie, and Ut. But the danger was that opponent had a lead and the board would become even tighter, and better was a strategic play to open up the top of the board. So I like my play. Opponent plays Vibs. I have an awful rack and change. Interesting. I change. I could have got 34 points with Sati, keeping double IU. Possibly worth doing, but all of these rack leaves are deeply horrible, so I think changing does have some merit. Opponent's rack plays Clued, and certainly changing has paid off because I have a bingo. Just the one, Sautoir. Opponent's rack plays Wifey for 36. And now I trail by 30. No bingo. And I play O for 23. I could have got 4 more points by playing off the S as well. Interesting. Not a great board for S's. And the second S not worth a huge amount. I think there's probably not terribly much between those plays. Opponent's rack plays Jun. And I now trail by 40. Missed bingo! I13. Guisers. Geysers. Wow. What a miss. Well done if you spotted that. Gosh. And I was looking at that lane and I did go through the alphabet, so absolutely no excuses. And what did I do instead? I played Gu for 10. Well, completely different type of play. Opponent's rack, no bingo, plays In. And I play Zos for 51. And here we go, just 5 points between us, 3 tiles in the bag, and the Q is one of them. An opponent took an age here. Finally playing B-triple-R, keeping himself E-double-I-L-N. Interesting. Well, we were both low on time and just such a tricky position for both of us in terms of identifying optimal plays. Now, this was my rack. No bingo. And I play Ngayo for 31, but H15, grams available for 43. 12 more points and keeping IO. However, I was expecting to draw an I. So IO not a great rack lead, but possibly some of these plays are better than Ngayo. So opponent plays the Q. I have MSS. Ket's available. Where's that? Oh, and Topos. 19 points. And I play off just the M for 9 points. Well, I'm not seeing any better M spots. Opponent plays Bell. And no outs here. I play Sautoise. Opponent plays Van. And finally, Ket's still available. Topos, that's the same play. And what do? I played chairs for 11. Okay, so a few more points were available. But what a game. The board was super tight. We were really close, and there were just so many difficult decisions to make in the final few moves. So super tense stuff, super exciting stuff, and delighted to come out on top. So many thanks to my opponent for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.